I'm going to go to Excel, and so say you are a sales, you work in a company where there are sales officers who are attached to different branches, and these are their units sold, you know, over different months. So how do we analyze something like this? How do you create for management a report that they can easily look at and get all what is happening and who is performing well, you know, how the different regions and salespeople are doing? For something like this, you will want to use pivot table. It is what can let you capture the transactional data, which this is in some ways, you know, transactions that these guys have, which in this case are sales transactions, they have been able to generate for the company, you know, across different branches. And so if you just select the entire table and you go to insert menu and you go to pivot table and this comes up, you go ahead with OK, because actually we are going to go with this default of new worksheet, and it has already automatically captured what we selected before we clicked on pivot table. So I can immediately go to here, and that is what I am going to do. So I click on OK, and instantly it generates for me this. And so this is how pivot table works, right? So pivot table allows us to say, these are the entire data table, data fields, and we're able to say, okay, I want to be able to see by salespeople, by branches, you know, the different sales they have made, right? So I want to be able to maybe put as a slicer. So there's slicer also in this whole pivot table design. We can add as a slicer. I want to be able to pick a branch, and right now I have a branch showing as a slicer. And then maybe so that I have a really neat look, I can decide to make this have a horizontal view. So something where I'm just turning on the columns. Okay, so let's see, is this good enough? Okay, so let's see what we can do with this. All right, so maybe this is good enough, right? So now I have all the states as a slicer, and then what kind of analysis are we trying to do? We want to see the salespeople, right? So I want to see the salespeople. I'm going to push them a bit down so that I can see them here, and maybe I push also a bit to the right. Okay, so there is a bit of some padding. Okay, so I say the sales people, salesperson, and I want to see what was sold by this person in January, in February, in March, in April, in May, in June, and in July. So are you noticing what I'm doing? I dragged to rows what I want to see them by. So I want to see by what category. So that's one question you want. What category do you think makes sense to use in summarizing what has happened? Should I summarize by month, by region, by salesperson, by product category? So those are the kind of things that go into rows. And similarly too, they are the kind of things you can put also into columns. The only difference is that when you put them into columns, right, the structure changes a bit, which I will show you. Then values are, well, the name is very self-explanatory. Whatsoever you want to compute, I want to see total sales, I want to see total quantity. I want to see, I want to see what has happened in terms of value across those different categories. Then that goes to value. Filter is self-explanatory also. I could have put what I put in slicer in filter. It's just that slicer looks a lot nicer. Okay, so right now we can pick a state and you see how the whole thing changes, right? And everything changes. And this still looks a lot, right? So, but still it's one step towards what management would like to see. So this is good. We can be able to show them, okay, by the different salespersons, what they sold in each state, and also what they sold across Nigeria, and if there's a target to compare to, yes, we can. Okay, so what about something a bit different and interesting? So let's just stretch this a bit more. Again, I select the same data, all right? I go to pivot table. I go ahead, and this time around, I'm going to put branch in rows. So are you seeing now it's doing the summary by the different states we have in Nigeria, right? Good. I can put the salesperson in filter. So right here, I'm able to say who I want to analyze for. Are you seeing some interesting things? And then we repeat again. I put all of these in the values, right? Then let's do something a bit interesting. I want to put a map, something that makes it a bit exciting to show what has happened, right? So let's say, because I want to put a map, I also want to do like a totals field, right? So I'm just going to do something that, well, this is not the best way to it, but because I want to open your mind to possibilities, I will just use this approach for now. So, okay. And I drag this down, and then I'm going to say total sales. And then I'm going to say this is summation of all of these sales. Okay, I'm going to call these states. Now, what I want to show you is the fact that if I go to insert and I pick a field map, let's see what comes out. So wait for it. It's coming up. My internet is trying to remove the field. Can you see? Okay, so with this, I can be able to say that the different states plot on a map what the sales are. Okay, and I'm sure my boss would really like something like this. And I can say this is the sales for this particular person. Okay, I think. All right. I wanted to dynamically link the title, but I think this particular chart type has some restrictions to that. If it was a conventional one, but no, the bigger thing I want to show you is already coming up. The fact that you can also plot as a map, the performance of all these your sales rep, across Nigeria, and as you change them, you see again what each person is doing. It takes a bit of your time. but it takes a while for it to show up. Voila, it comes up eventually. So we are going to just for now leave that as it is and move on to the next on the agenda while I try to, and I've succeeded in crashing Excel. Okay, so let's go check out what's on the other, or what's next on the agenda. Okay, so again, that approach I used for that map is not the best. I just wanted to, it came up to me that let me just show you that you can use a map in illustrating things that are, you know, geodata, things like states. So let's move on to PowerPivot for okay. So let's move on to PowerPivot for PowerPivot for large data, you know, over 2 million rows. So I open a blank Excel file, and then if I want to analyze data that is more than 2 million rows, how then do I proceed? Knowing well that Excel has a cell size limitation, you know, you cannot bring in data that is more than this. Okay, so how then am I going to have to split the data, or what will happen? Let's even demonstrate it. So I have a data that is, well, 2 million plus of rows. So I'm going to go look for that file. It's called big data. So I'm going to open it. It's in CSV, so it comma separated like a text file format. And then once I open it in Excel, luckily Excel can try to open a CSV file natively. Now I get this. File not loaded completely. Okay. And I'm going to say, all right. And still it brings in the data for me. Still it brings in the data for me. But I'm having a problem. The data I'm opening has more than this number of rows it has decided to show me. So what I'm going to show you is how I could have, you know, brought in this data without having to sacrifice some of the rows that, you know, sacrifice all those rows that are beyond what Excel can display. So I go to data menu, and then I say that I want to bring in, so in this case, let's use PowerPivot, since that's what I want to demonstrate. So I'm going to show you how with PowerPivot I can bring in that same data, but into an aspect of Excel that can handle that large amount of data. I've used it on 12 million rows in Excel, and it's the same thing that powers, that it's the same engine in Power BI, you know, and in Power BI I've used it for even over 100 million rows. Okay, so I click on Manage under PowerPivot, which if you do not see PowerPivot in your own Excel, you might need to first head to this file and you go to add-in and you change this to com add-ins. So you switch it to com add-ins. Okay. So I switch it to com add-ins, then I click on go and I take a look and see if I can find it, and yes, I am finding it in mine. So just make sure that it is ticked. That's all you want to do to it, and you will now have it in your Excel, I mean. So interesting. I need this. I need it for the Power BI session I'm going to do after this. So I'm going to also enable that Dark Studio because I need it. You don't have it until you install Dark Studio. All right. So once you do that, you will have you will have PowerPivot, and you click on manage, and then you say you want to bring from other source, and you scroll. In this case, is what we are bringing is a text file, so it's none of all these other ones we are seeing at the top. It's text file. I click on next, and then I browse to where the file is, and then I go to that particular folder where that file is anyway. So I'm trying to navigate to that folder. This is it. And so I pick it and I say, okay. It shows me a preview. Error loading file. Do I have that other one open? Let me close this one. Okay, so I've closed that one. So I'm going to retry this again. Okay. All right, so now it worked. It was because I had it open in the other Excel instance, the other Excel file. So I am going to say finish. And if you watch, you see the progress. So you see the progress, 60. For some weird reason, it's suddenly stopped counting. Okay, I hope Excel is not going to crash on me again. Let's see if there's anything I can do to reduce this crash. It's getting too much. I guess it's because I'm also recording. So we'll just give it a few seconds. Hopefully it should. I'm hoping it recovers without crashing, without closing the Excel. Okay, I hope all the thing I want to show you is not like it has happened in the background. It has happened in the background, unfortunately. So let's just, well, you can see it's done anyway. So I'm not going to, I was thinking maybe I should repeat that step, but you can see that this is 2,097,000 rows, right? So which is obviously more than what Excel can handle. And so this is the thing about PowerPivot. It allows you to bring in large data, and because it's part of the model engine, it's part of that data modeling environment in Excel now, you can be able to even do a lot more than just bringing the data. You can create relationships. You can do a whole lot more. And then when you're done, you want to analyze data. If I click on pivot table, I'm able to run analysis on that large amount of data inside Excel and do reports that I can email to my bosses and colleagues. And so that is Power Pivot. Okay, so I move on to the next on the agenda. So cleaning and highlighting duplicate records. Okay, so if you have duplicate records, how do you handle them in Excel? There are more than one way, so we're just going to talk about some of the ways, right? So let me just open the file that has the practice data I need to use. So opening the file. All right. Okay, so if I have records here that are duplicated, let's just quickly create an instance of that. There are more than one way in Excel one way to do this, right? You could decide that what you want to do is you want to highlight, which is you go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and you say duplicate record, and it highlights the record, right? And in another case, it could be you want to delete out those records, right? So you go to data, and then you go to remove duplicates, and you go ahead with OK, and boom, the duplicates are off. But then in another case, it could be that the data is not as simple looking as that one I've shown. So it could be a scenario where your duplicate could be something like this. This could be your duplicate. The fact that you are having total under twice, you do not worry about what is in the other columns, right? And so if this is the situation, how do you remove duplicates, right? If you go ahead and you do the remove duplicates on this, as it is, just accepting the default settings on remove duplicates, which is under data menu, remove duplicates, and you say, okay, it says it cannot find any duplicate record. And that's true. Why? There is no record, even the Japan under that I say is duplicate, right? It is not like the figures are the same. Let me just show you that again. It's not like these figures in front, are actually different. So it's not enough to say that these are duplicates. Okay, so let's see how we can undo this. So in the same remove duplicate, all I just do is when I click on remove duplicate, I explicitly tell Excel that I don't care what are in these fields, these other fields. I don't care what are there. I only care about these fields. I don't care what are in these fields, right? So by doing that, me just selecting the fields I care about. I don't care about these ones, right? Then when I say OK, you instantly see that it has found a duplicate record. Okay, and that duplicate record that it has found and removed is obviously the extra under Japan under that was here before, right? So it keeps the first instance and removes subsequent instance. Now, this that I have done, in fact, let's go back a couple of steps, even back to when things were here, right? Good. So what about the formula approach, which we did in the last training? There's this formula called unique, a dynamic array formula that I select, and what happens is I get the unique list of records, right? So that is another way. Then for this one, again, it's just a matter of you picking what you want. If I just want to get a unique list, of just this, and that's what happens. It's going to get me the unique list, which means that I'm not going to have Japan under twice, whereas I have Japan under twice here. Okay, so that's the thing about that one. So let's go check out the other thing on the agenda. What about text to column? By the way, let me just check if there are any questions right now. Okay, so no questions, but please, if you have questions, do feel free to ask. There's that Q&A side on your right side. You can use that to, throw some questions my way. All right, so if I go to text to column, and I have this data that I feel they should be separated, and I pick text to column. Text to column is under data menu, text to column, you know, I go with this delimited, there's something delimiting them, which is space in my instance now. I go to next, I indicate what that is that is separating them. Like I mentioned, it is space. So once I indicate it, I'm going to see a preview. I'm going to see a preview here, okay? And then I go to next, and I can go to finish, right? But because I don't want to destroy this original data, I'm going to modify my destination. I'm going to tell it to put the outcome in this destination. So I'm going to just tell it to put it in a separate destination. Okay. All right. So now that I've done that and I say finish, voila, this is what happens, right? Now let's talk about text to rows. We know this. This is easy to wrap our heads around. What if I want it in a different way? Okay, so text to rows is I want them, you know, arranged in row wise. This can be useful for things that, you know, records that are all lumped up in one column and you will rather prefer to have them in separate rows. Okay, so all I do is I select this, I go to data. Now you will see this from table or range. This from table or range. That is what I'm going to do because I want to take it into a special transform environment, which is called Power Query. Okay, and so let's just do that from table or range. And let's forget about the headers part. So I'm just going to go ahead with okay, it doesn't have header. So when I'm here, I'm going to say I want Excel to split for me. So split is what I want to do. So I go to split column, and then I say in this case it's by delimiter, which is space, right? So I pick that split by delimiter, and then I am going to expand these advanced options, and this is where the magic happens. The magic happens in that I'm going to say no, not by column, but by rows. So that way it's going to split it into row instead of different columns. So maybe you call it text to rows. So that's all I need to do, and I'm going to do okay, and you'll see the outcome, right? So I do okay. Voila, this is the outcome. It has split everything out into this way, right? So I'm going to tell it to just close and load, and it will bring it into a fresh Excel sheet for me. Okay, so this is text to column. Like I mentioned, if I have people's phone numbers that are all arranged in one column, you know, so I have like I have phone numbers, right? And maybe what I want is, oh boy. Anyway, you get the idea. It's scattered. What I've done has gone off. Let me just try it again, and it's just painful after typing that much. Okay, so this is good enough, right? So text to column, we'll do this. It's a comma like separating them. change the location. I put it here so you see what I'm saying clearly. Let's just do that one more time. I had issues with that general converting them to some scientific type, so that's why I'm changing, forcing it to be recognized as text. Okay. Okay, so I will tell it to not destroy the original, to put that in here, and voila. Okay, so this is text to column, and maybe this is not what you want. Maybe you want it to be arranged like this here, you know, this here. So I don't want to do that manually. Then the one I just showed us solves that nicely for us. So let's just see how that comes out. So I'm just going to repeat that last text to row, and it shouldn't transform it. You shouldn't change type. So just clear that step. All right. So this is it. All I just do is split by delimiter. The delimiter is a comma, and it should do rows. Okay. Let me just zoom that so that you see, comma, row. And let's see what that does to this. Voila, isn't this what I was talking about? Right? And it's done it. So that is text to rows, right? So I move to the next thing on the agenda. If you have any question, I'm going to check soon. So let's just see. So that's text to row. Data validation. So data validation, it's something that is very easy to do, but people don't think of it a lot of time. That I see issues that people could have avoided by just doing text data validation. If you are trying to make people fill information and you keep complaining that they are entering wrong information or they're doing wrong spellings for you, you know, this is one way you permanently solve those issues, right? So if I expect that, that employee numbers, employee IDs have a particular pattern. Maybe there are numbers between, maybe our employee IDs have a pattern that is like this. Then I can compute it into, I can program it into the Excel, especially that part where people are supposed to type their employee IDs, and make it mandatory that Excel enforces on them that pattern, so nobody types anything outside of that. So I go to data validation under data menu, right? And I say I don't want to accept just anything anymore, right? I have a particular range of entries that are valid. So I say whole number, and then, you know, between 10001, how many zeros are there? Okay, so that's like 6 digits. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And I can, you know, say customize the, I can say enter like a tooltip, enter a valid employee ID. Employee IDs are between 10001 and 100. So that way, you know, I'm even already guiding the people to see what is expected of them. Enter the shipping code, enter the product category, enter something that, you know, I know for certain that that's what I want to accept. So that way you, and then if someone does something really bad, I can put idiot, you know, please follow the instructions. You know, though I don't advise you use this in a work environment, but you get the whole idea of what I want to prove. So I can do okay, and then what happens when someone comes here? They instantly see this tooltip, right? And then the person plugs in, you know, the right kind of record, no problem. But he goes and plugs in what is not valid, right? Well, he gets the message I've said, idiot, and the please follow the instructions, right? So it will not keep what he has done. He has to enter the right thing. So what if our employee IDs follow a pattern? So our employee IDs maybe are your BZ1001 to your BZ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is one of the questions we gave out to people to solve as tasks that were given. Let me look for the task we gave. So we give our training students weekly tasks, and one of those tasks involved this thing I've just shown. Let me look for that particular task and see if I can show you. Okay, so something like this, huh? And we said you can check out on our blog how you solve something like that. So let me just quickly show you so that when I'm doing it, you will understand, you know, the logic behind what I am doing, right? So let me take you to our blog and then let me show you that. I think I've skipped it. Okay, so this is it. So how do you make Excel accept unique entries? Okay, this one is remove duplicate. The other, well, you see the other, you use this concept to get what I want to say. So the key thing is writing in a formula that we evaluate to like a true or false. Okay, so that when it's true, it accepts. When it's false, it does not accept, right? So that's what we want to do here also. A formula that is going to evaluate for us, you know, are you meeting this condition? So how are we going to, you know, do that? So let me just wipe off what we've already done here. So if I go to data validation and I go here, so because it's a special, you know, there's nothing like UR in this preset here. So I have to go do something custom and then configure my custom, right? So I say custom, and in the formula, I'm going to say, as long as what you have typed is the left of the first cell in that our selection is equal to the left, the first two letters, which is left. I will zoom into, you'll see, is equal to UR. Maybe let's start from there, so you get the whole idea. Let's start with this. So check that the left of what has been typed is equal to UR. Check that the first two letters are equal to UR. Okay, that UR needs to be in quotes. It's a text literal. So let's see. So once I run this check, Let's check how that works out. So I'd say, okay. I forgot to take out this bracket. So yeah, the bracket I was using in the hand. So this is it. And I say, okay. And let's check it out. If you type something, no problem. But if it starts with something else, voila, you get the idiot message. Huh? So now that we've done that part, how can we finish it with the ensuring that the things there are between 1001 and so that's not too difficult. It's just to wrap that hand formula I was talking about. So if I go back to data validation, and so now I'm going to have to wrap everything in an hand. So once you've established that, also establish for me that the right figure of this, and there are 6 digits to the right, times 1 to coerce it to become number, that this is greater than 1 and 6 zeros. I mean, yeah, 6 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's quickly go check that and see if that is working fine before we go and make sure that it should be less than. So as it's greater than, it should also be less than 99999. Like, so let's just first go check this out. I think I've entered more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. I've entered a lot more. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. 4. So okay. So let's go. Let's first check this out before we further add the next constraint. So doing this now, let's enter something that is obviously correct. Good. Now let's enter something else that is obviously wrong. Okay, so you get the whole idea. I can go back again and complicate the logic, but I'm looking at my time. I want to go to the next thing. So for department, if there's a list of department, I just go to data validation and I say, so department is a list. I pick a list, right? And as for the source of the list, I can type and separate by comma. So HR, comma, IT, comma, finance, and it will work, right? From that moment onwards, you will always see this drop down. So the comma is just the main thing. If you're using that approach, right? Make sure that you type in the stuffs and comma separate them. But then if you have the list already, you can do this. And voila, you will have the entries, okay? And if you feel the list is going to be expanding, well, you can use the formulas that I've shown you, unique, and tell it to always give you the, and pick the entire column. So remember I mentioned unique. And so you can select a lot more, and as the list expands, and you can sort it. So you can even say you want to sort that unique, you want to sort it by itself in descending order, and voila. No, ascending is better. Ascending is better, so that I get the space. Okay. So you get the whole idea. I can use that now here. Time is not on my side. Let me move on to something else. But you can see the concept. Okay. Then what if I don't want someone to type in something twice? I don't want you to type in your employee ID twice, because that means you are obviously typing someone else's employee ID. Can you see this? So this is what I mean by right now you should try reading our blog post a lot more, right? Because we are just going to be counting, how many times that thing is there, and we count and lock some aspect and not lock some aspect. So let's just do that right now. So I'm going to say I don't want you to type in your, let's say, account number. I don't want duplicate records, right? So I go here and I say I have a custom check, and the custom check is going to be count if. So count if in these records, which I'm going to make absolute, check for me how many times this is occurring there, what the person is typing is occurring there. If it is greater than 1, then there's problem. It must always be less than or equal to 1. Less than or equal to 1. Okay. If it's greater than 1, I will say duplicate entry. Please check that you are not double entering an account number. So that way nobody goes and get double salary or something if money is involved, right? So the key thing is this. Let me just show you again before I go ahead with is this formula. Right? Again, go to our blog to get the whole story of how the formula works with the explanations, of how you use it. And our blog is just yourbizedge.com/blog. yourbizedge.com/blog. Okay, so you'll get all those explanations. So I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate how this works. So if you enter your account number, if you enter another account number, but if you try to enter the same account number a second time, this is going to raise a flag. See? Saying, please double entry, please check that you are not entering an account number twice. Okay, so that can be super useful in some instance. So that's the beauty of data validation. So let me just go check if you have any questions for me. So I'm going to the question and answer segment. Okay, so someone is saying, interesting, I never knew text to row is possible. Yes, it is. For anybody who is interested in our training, if you just head over to class.yourbizedge.com, you will be able to access our training. And right now we do both online and offline. So if you still want the class experience, yes. If you want a one-on-one class, yes. And if you want a dedicated, I think I've said that already, that was one-on-one. And if you want the online experience, yes. And the online, we have two approaches. There's the one where it's purely the normal class, online self-paced one, where we follow up on you, but you still have to do the bulk of the work. And then there's the one where you can get a one-on-one. So it's a mixture of online and one-on-one. So we have those two offers. You can always decide that you want to just do the one-on-one, I mean the online without live session, or you want the one with live session, and we allow you to pay in Naira, so you can pay to us in Naira, you can pay to us, you know, via bank transfer. You don't always have to go look for a dollar card. So let's just check if any other questions before I round up today's session and we move into Power, and I go and start preparing for Power BI. Power BI is 6 o'clock today. So if you're interested in Power BI too, you can join us. So no more questions. So thank you and see you next week. Have a nice rest of the day.